chief guest, and she's about to make her way to the venue, so we will not take any time. Like I said, that the World Population Day concentrates and reflects, was designed to reflect on a number of challenges people in the world face. There must be planning. How does the world plan for these people? And in our case as Uganda, how does government plan for these people, for us, the population in Uganda? What plans do they have, and how do they arrange to make sure that we live a better life? Poverty, diseases, famine, those are all the challenges that we face, and is what is reflected on this day. We're going to talk to the State Minister for Finance and Economic Planning of this beautiful country of ours, the Honorable Lugolobi, because when you talk about poverty and how livelihoods can be lifted, this is the man. Sir, you're most welcome. You're live on UBC TV.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'll hold this for you.
Good morning. How are you, my listeners over there?
We are fine. Now, what do you make of this day as the man that oversees planning in this country? Let's start from there.
Human resources are the most important resource a country can have. That's where the entire planning, the whole of our planning begins from. Because whatever we do has a lot to do with the population. We're actually doing it for the population. We build the roads for the population. We build the health centers for the population. We build the schools for the population. We do agricultural production for the population. So we build wealth for the population. So our key target is actually the population. So we have to manage this population well in order to get to what we want.
That is the main reflection of the day.
Yes, that's actually the main theme of this day. That how do we do mindset change to get this population to where we want it. Right now we're experiencing a big problem of child marriages and teenage pregnancies. It's a very big problem in this country. So as we grow this population to a quality population, we have to address these challenges along the way to make sure that we have a population that's properly educated, that have access to good health, that have skills, that are innovative, very productive, because we compete with the rest of the world. And unless you get your population right in terms of its quality, in terms of its education, you are not going to be able to compete with other countries.
The Honorable Ugolobi, all the challenges that you have mentioned have a connection with poverty.
Yes.
What has held our poverty levels, our struggles to fight poverty in Uganda? Why have we failed to kick poverty totally out of Uganda? Where is the problem? You're now in the office that plans for this country. Where is the problem in as far as our failure to fight poverty totally out of Uganda is concerned?
Well, I do not think that we have not done, we have done something, because our poverty level was actually at 50%. Yes. Now we have reduced that to 20.3%, at least by the recent survey. We have reduced that, and that I think has been a very significant move. But 20% of our population is still a very big population. We cannot rest until we have reduced this poverty to a minimum of 5%. And that's why we are now introducing programs such as the parish development model, to make sure that those people who are still in subsistence actually walk out of subsistence into the productive and money economy.
At that very point, Honorable, we have had some time without any encumbrances and things like that.
Your Excellency, thank you so much.
What could be the main problem for the low pace at which we are solving the problem of poverty? Let's start with that.
It's my singular
well, the figures you're mentioning,
to introduce,
at least they would be higher than that by now. Where could be the problem? Is it with us, the Ugandans, or is the challenge your side as the administrators of this country?
Yeah, I think one of the principal challenges has been the growth rate in the population. Our fertility rate has been very high. You remember that before it declined to 5.3, it was previous about 7.2 children per woman in Uganda, and that is very high. So our population was growing very fast. So we have such a huge young population. Most of these are a dependent population. They are school going. So our investment has to be directed towards education for all. And you know, you are dealing with a very large number of young people. The youth below the age of below the age of 30 are actually 70% of our population. And that's a huge population to handle. I think that has been one of the biggest challenges.
We have countries like China who are almost running after the number the world has.
Yes.
You get almost densely populated as Africa, the whole continent. But again, their economies are growing at a very fast speed.
Yes.
How do they do it? What is it that maybe we can copy from them to see that we handle the growing population accordingly? Secondly, let's first start with that, in as far as that is concerned. Because I was going to ask you, what measures do you take as the planners? Let's start with a comparison. How do countries with bigger population figures handle the economies, and we see them succeeding, so that maybe we can copy?
I think the key lesson that we learned from countries like China and India is that they turn this huge young population into a demographic dividend instead of being a curse or instead of being a burden to them. So they have invested in their people, and this is what we are trying to do. This is why today we are talking about free primary, free secondary education, enhancing health services, and investing in the people themselves to invest. We are introducing so many programs. Right now, as we speak, we are launching the PDM, the parish development model. We are also launching another program that is called Invite, with the support of World Bank, to enable people invest in value chains to become more productive. So once we turn this population into a productive population, then we shall be achieving the democratic dividend that we are talking about. So in other words, we may turn this population into people who are productive, but at the same time, a market, for what we produce locally. And that's what China has done to be able to attract investment in that country. They turn their population into richer people, middle-income people. So American, the British, we all had to rush to China.
They have ensured that the population does it itself.
Yes.
On that very point, Honorable, you see, you have talked about programs like the education programs, UPE and USE. The challenges there, you investing in those two programs as government, there are challenges there. The other day, the president was asking teachers to go back to class. Almost every year we have them coming up to complain about their payments. If not payments, then scholastic materials, capitation grants in the schools. There are a lot of things that they talk about there. Are we investing fully into these programs, even if it's not the education programs? Are we basing on the target that we want to be like China, that are investing into their people to have a result? Are we investing in these programs fully, basing in line with the target that we want to achieve?
I think, to be frank to our listeners, we have a big population of young people. We need so many teachers in this country, but our resource cannot support the needs arising from that sector. Accordingly, the amount of support that we provide to each student in the form of capitation grant, it is there, but not sufficient. It's inadequate. The amount of salaries that we are able to pay from our budget are fairly inadequate. So what this means is that it has to take the population itself to understand that this country has a challenge. We have to come in ourselves. The teachers have to understand the challenge the country has. They have to.
Isn't it then you, Honorable, that has to come in, you, the planners, the wing now that you lead as the state minister? One would think that is you now that has to come in to draw plans that accommodate the challenges, absorb the challenges, and accommodate the target that we want.
Yeah, I've said that we have put in place all the necessary plans. And this is why today we are saying that we want to drive this country into a technology-based country, and hence the emphasis on science. And this is why we're emphasizing better pay, pay that is more than other disciplines to the scientists in this country. Not only teachers, but also science across government, because this is the direction we want to take according to our planning strategy. But as we do this, there's need for patience to other disciplines like the humanities. They have to be a little patient as we grow the base, the tax base of this country, to be able to support ourselves. This is what we are talking about. We cannot have everything the way people expect it.
About the topic of sciences and arts, have we borrowed this leaf from some other country where scientists are paid better than everyone?
Oh yes. You go in countries and they have very huge technology centers, science technology parks. They have really invested in science and innovation, research and
invested in paying scientists or paying or investing in science in innovation?
Yes, paying more for scientists. And for a country that is growing like ours, it's even more important, because you don't have these innovations yet. You don't have people who have the capacity to copy the technologies from other countries. They need to be scientists, people who have the capacity to process our raw materials, the minerals, the agricultural products, people who work in health centers. Those science are badly needed. And you realize that we have been losing a number of them to other countries.
Honorable, I want to take you now to poverty.
Yes.
What has failed our poverty alleviation programs? We can mention a number, you get? Yeah. But all of them probably, they have taken us to a step, but at least they have not tackled the problem to the way we wanted. What could be the way within these programs? Do we plan them well? What don't we do right as a country to achieve the desired goal? Right now we are running the parish development model.
Yes.
We are phasing out Emyoga. What is that we don't do right, that these programs don't achieve 100% of the target?
Well, I think one of the biggest weaknesses before has been this country is reliant on agriculture in terms of its employment. The majority of our people are employed in agriculture. However, agriculture has faced very significant challenges previously, and our adaptation measures, have not come that fast to address these challenges. For example, climate change has been such a huge problem. We used to have reliable rainfall 2 seasons a year. These rains are no longer coming. And we have not come out very effectively to provide irrigation schemes across the country. Secondly, the soils are getting dilapidated. There is a depletion on the quality of soils that we are using. Our soils now require fertilizers. We have not been able as a country to produce enough fertilizers to distribute to our farmers. New diseases have attacked our crops, and farmers are ill-equipped. In fact, many of them do not have the capacity to address the disease problem within the agricultural sector. The animals have been attacked by diseases like FMD, foot and mouth disease, but the farmers have not been able to respond. So the challenges in agriculture, where most people are employed, have been so huge that we have not been able to address them in a manner that we should have. But we have done our best. But this has been, I think, the number one problem. The second one is that technology is very key in transforming a country. We have been relying on a hand-hold. Production has been rudimentary in most areas. So we must find a solution of deploying technologies here through technology transfer and through research and development to ease production and to reduce the cost of production, to be able to compete with other people in whatever we are doing, be it road construction, be it in manufacturing, be it in education, be it in whatever sector. The issue of technology is very key. So yes, we need to develop a huge repository of technology in this country, which people can access. You want to manufacture a coat like this one, the technology is there for you. You want to do this, the technology is there for you to access. I think this is something that we seriously need to work on.
So, Honorable, we have talked about education, and we saw the challenges. Actually, you said our resource envelope is not yet big enough to solve all the challenges in that sector.
So we are so grateful.
We now talked about poverty, and you're saying the problem that has been standing in the way of all the programs we have come up with has been having a little not having enough technology and mechanization within the agriculture sector. You are now the Minister for Planning. What are the solutions to these challenges, so that because we need to move at the end of the day? So what solutions are in the store? Realistic ones?
Yeah, I think in our National Development Plan, we have a program called agro-industrialization. This is a program combining the entire value chain in agriculture. In other words, when you produce a product like coffee, a commodity like coffee, we are looking at the entire value chain of harvesting that coffee, how we store it, how we process it, and how we market it. And the same applies to other commodities like maize, potatoes, so the entire value chain. And this is what is now in the plan, to look at those value chains. And we are acquiring this loan from World Bank to be able to support those successful value chains, right from agricultural production to the end. So these are some of the interventions that are going to be the game changers for the situation that we are in today. And indeed, in agriculture, we want to invest more money there. First, into research, to make sure that we plant the right seeds, to make sure that we are using the right technologies, to the better modern practices in agriculture, to make sure that we get the technologies.
How are we going to materialize that? Honorable, we are blamed for being a country that has a lot of good ideas on paper, but drive to the villages, the ideas are not there. How are we going to materialize? Because whatever you're saying, I agree. How are we going to materialize it? You drive to Mbarara and you see it. You drive down to Teso where we are and you see it. In Busoga, Chiboga. How are we going to materialize it and see it, so that at the end of the programs we really have a lot to show than a lot to say?
Well, you are creating the impression that it's like there's nothing on the ground.
Not that, Honorable.
But
I'm not creating a
saying this country, even during COVID, we had a food surplus. We are the biggest producers within this region of most of the food products. In fact, we are known to be large exporters to countries like Kenya, Congo, and many countries around here. So agriculturally, we have been doing quite well, but we are not yet there. This is a message. We are not yet there. We need to make sure that we adopt new measures to address problems such as climate change. As we are producing, we got challenged by these new challenges. Climate change, we make sure that we irrigate the country. We already have a solar-powered irrigation scheme running across the country through micro projects. This is going on across the country, and we intend to enhance it further, to escalate it to different levels, to make sure that we have these irrigation schemes in all parts of this country. That is how to continue supporting agricultural production in this country. So in the future, you should be able to see modern gardens throughout the year across the country. We have been dependent on seasons. Maybe the time you moved around the country, it was during the drought season.
Honorable, this one may not be directly under your docket, but because we are talking about the population, we're talking about fighting poverty and programs and sectors that can really liberate the Ugandan like me from poverty. You talked about exportation of produce to neighboring countries. These days, not only these days, we have had stories, we have seen stories of our commodities, our produce being barred from accessing the Kenyan market. The recent has been eggs. What exactly is the problem, and what are you doing as government to stop this? People are wondering, there is the East African community, how can we again have what exactly is happening?
Well, I think that's a problem for our colleagues, the Kenyans, who have blocked the Kenyan side, because I think those are called the non-tariff barriers. They had no real reason to stop our eggs from being exported to their country, because this is a common market. Really, we are in a customs union, a common market, and we are driving into a monetary union. So we have the right and the freedom to export our products to any market within the 7 countries forming the East African community. For them to stop those eggs, I think, in my opinion, they were acting out of order. They should allow us access the same way, because we provide a reciprocal arrangement where we allow their goods to enter our market freely. They are entering here, so they should not be stopping us. We should allow a free market to operate. So, but we have the East African community, we have the East African Assembly, you know, IALA. So these issues must be negotiated at, discussed at that level, so that no member state should behave otherwise beyond what is expected within the protocol forming the East African community.
Thank you so much, Honorable. This sun is getting a little hotter. Probably will,
In Africa, we are
probably will get more time to talk to you. But again, so you are now the Minister for Planning. Previously, you were the Minister for, sorry, you were heading the Budget Committee. And that's where I used to meet you most of the time. But there is a complaint about how we draw our programs. Sometimes people say, for example, the other day I was interviewing a professor and he said Uganda would be the easiest country where to fight poverty because it has regions and every region is known for something. When you go to the north, there is Sim. They are growing some specific products there. When you go to the west, you are assured of milk and dairy and beef. You come to the central, coffee is a sure deal.
Yes.
You come to the east, there is some bit of coffee, cattle rearing, but again, and grains, maize, groundnuts and things like that. So he was talking of running the agriculture sector on a zoned kind of basis. What is your view?
Well, that is actually the ideal. We should have specialized as regions in certain enterprises. Unfortunately, you know, we are running a liberalized economy where individuals choose what to do. You know, as we try to create these ecological zones, the farmers themselves, you find them moving away from what we are proposing as the main enterprise for that particular region. But by and large, it's happening in some areas. Like in the western region, you know, there's that investment in livestock. The majority of our people there are in livestock, and in areas like Bushenyi you have tea, you know, so there's some level of specialization in those areas. And also coffee within the central region. But coffee slowly, you know, is being in certain areas because of the reducing amount of land. People are going into more intensive farming enterprise like tomatoes, vegetables. Yes. There are people specializing in those areas because there is demand emerging from the East African region. The Kenyans come here to buy tomatoes, pineapples, okra, and things like that. You know, green pepper. So because people have seen these opportunities, you see them walking out of those enterprises. And because land is getting increasingly fragmented, you see them moving out of plantation agriculture. Because if you have 2 acres, investment in coffee, you know, would be a risky enterprise for you. You will never fight poverty. If you have 2 acres, so what you do is to go into intensive agriculture. You go into zero grazing, for example. It will give you better money than a coffee plantation on 1 acre. You know, you can't plant sugarcane when you have a small piece of land. So ecological zones, yes, are there, and the Ministry of Agriculture is promoting them. But there are those challenges of enterprise that are more commercial and because of land fragmentation, which people are now focusing on.
Okay. Honorable, thank you so much. I'll let you go and follow the proceedings of the event.
Okay,
thank you so much.
And thank you, UBC, for carrying this function live.
We just have a mandate to do that. But thank you for appreciating.
Thank you.
All the best, Honorable. Yes, his name is the Honorable Amos Lugolobi. He was previously the chairperson of the Budget Committee of Parliament, that is in the 10th Parliament. Right now he is Minister, he was elevated. He's State Minister for Finance and Planning in the government of the Republic of Uganda. We have shared a number of things. Yes, we throw in straight questions because we don't get the minister every day, so we have to make sure that we get the information from him. We thank you so much for watching. Like I said, we are coming to you live from Boma Grounds here in Kumi district. Kumi is after Mbale and some distance after Mbale. That's where we are. We are expecting the Right Honorable Robin Nabanja, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, and we shall give you the whole event live to the end. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep it with us. You need to know a lot. There are so many challenges that are going to be talked about and reflected on this day. For example, early pregnancies.
At this moment,
There are so many, especially in the rural Uganda. That is one of the problems that are being hinted. Early pregnancies, they don't only contribute to unplanned population growth, but also they affect lives of the young mothers, cropping of the young families, children that are not planned for, and things like that. So what plans are there from the angle of government, civil society, and the international community as well? This is the best program or best live coverage to watch for such information for the good of yourself, your family, your community, and Uganda at large. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it with us. Follow the event.
Our pastor kada Reverend Robert Onyait, the Bishop's chaplain. Ejai Papa Bishop, right Reverend Charles Okunya Ode, Bishop Reformed Anglican Church, Upper Nile Diocese. Kidingi walk, Ijakada Sheikh Rashid Omujaj, Counter Sheikh Kumi Muslim County. Kidingi walk, Ijakada Papa Mayor Ochom, a mayor of Kumi Municipality, Papa Mayor Yalama. Ejai a town clerk, Lo Kumi Municipality, and the heads of department. Town clerk, thank you. Thank you for coming. Koda Isialamikin Papa RDC Rex Achila, the RDC of Kumi. Thank you for being on ground and for the job well done. Permit me to recognize the winners for the activities during the week, and for the football category, Kumi District played Bukedia, and Kumi emerged the winner. So we'll introduce the rest as they receive their awards. For now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize the participation of all the institutions, nursery, primary, secondary, and tertiary. May I ask all the institutions to stand up for recognition. Isomero ikere lipitengesa ikeu nuseta ike kini akwapuna Uganda academicus. We have a number of schools participating, and others are just about to join us. So we thank you and have a very fruitful day. Selector.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular honor and privilege to introduce the ministers who are here with us today. And I want to start by introducing Honorable Amos Lugorobi, the Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development in charge of planning. Can you kindly give him a big round of applause? Then permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Honorable Okasai Opolot, the Minister of State for Energy and Mineral Development in charge of energy. You're most welcome, Honorable. Thank you so much for your guidance during the preparations, and thank you once again for hosting us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce some of our partners, one, who have joined us here today, but who have also been part of the preparations for this year's World Population Day. And I would like to start by recognizing Uganda Bureau of Statistics, that is UBOS in short. They are mandated to collect data and share it, and we thank them for a job well done, because we've used a lot of the data that was generated by UBOS to develop advocacy materials for this activity. Thank you so much, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. I would also like to recognize National Planning Authority. This is a government agency that is in charge of planning for this country, and we are happy that they developed and we are now implementing the third development plan. I want to also note the fact that the second development plan and the third development plan recognize harnessing the demographic dividend as one of the strategies that will enable our country achieve Vision 2040. Now permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize the special partnership that we have between UNFPA and NPC, and we warmly welcome UNFPA. I want to also mention the presence of the Netherlands Embassy, and we thank them for their great support to the population program in Uganda. I would also like to recognize the presence of Maristops. These are our partners and stakeholders. We work with Maristops, they are here today. We work with Naguru Teenage Center, and in a special way, I want to thank Naguru Teenage Center for organizing a youth dialogue for the young people in Teso sub-region that took place on Friday of this week here in Kumi district. The young people dialogued and came up with resolutions. So as the district chairperson of Kumi district reads out the resolutions that came out of the regional leaders dialogue for the regional leaders from Teso sub-region, we will give the young people 2 minutes to also present the resolutions that came out of their dialogue. And then I want to recognize ActionAid, and more importantly, ActionAid in Teso sub-region. They have actively been part of the preparations for World Population Day. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot end the mention of agencies that have participated in preparing this event, in the preparations for this event, without talking about National Population Council. We thank the Director General, Management and staff of National Population Council for working around the clock to ensure a successful event. And then for now, lastly, but not least, our hosts, the people of Kumi district and the people of Teso sub-region. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, join me to give a very big round of applause to our hosts, the people of Kumi district and Kumi district local government. Thank you so much for hosting us. Thank you so much for burning the midnight candle to ensure that when we come to your district we are comfortable, and thank you so much for the mobilization. My brothers and sisters, the people from Kumi Yoga Kere, Yoga Noi, Ealama Wanyun. Thank you so much for coming in such big numbers. I will now request Paul to come and introduce some of the schools from the district who have come to be part of the celebrations. Paul.
So Yalamanoi, Ataker Isomeroi Luokumi District Kere Ejasine Etiono Kwanai Marmar Dope Dope. Toto Dio as advised. I recognize you as you arrive, and we are very grateful for the heads of those institutions. Isomeroi Kere Ejasine Aramas Beron Isomeroi Mulakan. Thank you. Ejai Papa Bishop Simon Peter Eliodo, Lo PAG, Papa Bishop Yalama Awanyun. I have also notably seen the representative for the District Council of Kapchora District Local Government rise up for recognition. Kapchora, thank you for coming. May I invite Joy Kim for a poem. Joy Kim Nursery and Primary for a poem. Joy Kim Nursery and Primary, I'm inviting you for a poem. The police band, as Joy Kim come, please, a piece of entertainment. I'm proud of you. Joy Kim Nursery and Primary, please save the time. Okay, other than Joy Kim, let's have Joy Christian for the poem. Joy Christian, save time, please. Your slot might be given out to another institution. Ladies and gentlemen, I did say if I call on an institution for a performance and I take much of the time, I'll automatically give that slot out to another one. And those of you who were not accredited yesterday, I want to advise that you link up with Mr. Emorut. Mr. Emorut.
Thank you so much, Police Band. Can we give them a hand clap? Ladies and gentlemen, before we get entertainment from our young brothers and sisters, I would like to introduce Dr. Olivia Sentumbwe, who is here to represent World Health Organization. Dr. Sentumbwe, kindly stand up for recognition. She's over there. Give her a big round of applause. We appreciate World Health Organization for the support that they give our country, but for also the efforts that were put in to help Uganda combat the COVID pandemic. Thank you so much, and when you go back, kindly convey our message. I'll now invite Paul to come and introduce the school. Okay, can we have one of the pupils introduce the school, and then you go on to entertain our guests.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joachim Christian Nursery and Primary School going to represent a welcome song.
We are so glad you're here for us today. We are so glad you're here for us today. We're glad you came. This is the day that you'll last in our memories for reason to smile. Because great things start in small beginnings. These humble wishes from our tender hearts. Casting the future, casting a new world. Making a human a burning flame. Masters of wisdom, angels of young minds, shaping crystals out of gold. We are so glad to welcome you. We wish to give a joyful heart. Celebrate and to bring us together. We are the one voice. We are to welcome you. On this day, wanna tell you, we teenagers face pregnancy. Come here, go there, she's pregnant. So many teenagers are rejected. School dropouts, STDs, save me, save her, save the nation. No raping, peer grouping, respect teenagers for their future. My sister, I wanna tell you, stay away from media pornography, sexual abuse, drug abuse. We teenagers co-stakeholders, our parents, our guardians, our government, please don't leave us. Come in, help us this situation. Say no, say no, say no. We are the blooming buds to seek your blessings. Love of learning is it from your grace. You are the mentors of the broken hearts, cause you love to see us smile. Because great things start in small beginnings. These humble wishes from our tender hearts. Casting the future, casting a new world, making a human a burning flame. Masters of wisdom, angels of young minds, shaping crystals out of gold. We are so glad to welcome you. Sing a welcome song to you. We wish to give a joyful heart. Celebrate that will bring us together. We are the one voice. We are to welcome you. We are so glad to welcome you. Sing a welcome song to you. We wish to give a joyful heart. Celebrate that will bring us together. We are the one voice. We are to welcome you. We are the one voice. We are to welcome you. We are to welcome you. For God and my country.
Thank you so much, Joachim Christian Nursery and Primary School, for entertaining our guests. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular honor and privilege to welcome our viewers who are watching us on UBC TV. I want to welcome them to this year's commemorations of World Population Day, and we are observing this day here at Kumi Boma Grounds in Kumi District. Our dear viewers, World Population Day is an annual event that is commemorated each year on July 11th. And this time round, we are commemorating World Population Day under the theme, Mindset Change for Wealth Creation, Ending Teenage Pregnancy and Child Marriage. As you all know, we have a very big problem in this country when it comes to child marriage and teenage pregnancy. We are still waiting for our guest of honor, and for those of you who are watching us on television, our guest of honor today is going to be the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, and she's going to be joining us anytime from now. So stay tuned, kindly sit back and relax, and as we prepare for the next entertainment interlude, I'll ask Amster Sounds to give us some entertainment.
It has been a long time. Now this tune, and the video spider, I smoke protein. Yemame, yene pedora itache deke. Yemame, eya, ay. Yemame ne pedori itache deke. Amu yene pedori, amengo da pedora itache deke. Amu yene pedori, amu jadi pedori itache deke.
Many thanks to Joy, and would like to invite Bishop Ilukor Girls for a piece of entertainment. We also want to ask the managers of these institutions that the numbers are big, and if your number is big, you will not perform from the stage. Please, Bishop Ilukor Girls, time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems our guest of honor is now arriving, so she will be joining us anytime from now. And as we said at the beginning, when the guest of honor arrives, we should rise up and warmly welcome her to the commemoration of World Population Day here. And I'm guided that when the guest of honor arrives, she will be received, and thereafter she will immediately move on to inspect the stalls. After inspecting the stalls, she will do the symbolic tree planting, and it's after that that she will come back and we will have the national anthem, the East African anthem, and the prayers. So for now, let's have some entertainment interlude as we wait for the girls' school to come and entertain us. You need to go down, assemble them and give them a microphone.
As we receive Bishop Ilukor Girls, allow me to recognize Dr. C.K. Hong, the Vice Chancellor for Kumi University, is in our midst. Rise up for recognition, Vice Chancellor. Thank you for coming. So this should not take us a lot of time, as you are aware that the guest of honor is arriving anytime. We expect you to give us that piece as soon as possible. As you see, the numbers coming are big, so we couldn't host them here on the stage. Over to you, Bishop Ulukod Girls.
This is Bishop Ulukod Girls Secondary School. We are going to recite a poem titled Population. Numbers are high, increasing everywhere. Birth rates high, productivity low. Cost of living high, job opportunities low. As a result of early marriage and teenage pregnancies. Keep children at school, the only key to a big pool. First school, last marriage. Fail on school uniform, fail to wear graduation uniform. Thus no wedding uniform. The early the birth rates, the higher the numbers everywhere.
The title of our second poem is Patience and Virtue.
Yes, a very good afternoon to you tuned into UBC TV. We are still coming to you live from Boma Grounds, Kumi District, where we have a live coverage for you for this year's World Populations Day. I have the Executive Director of the National Population Council, the Director General, Mr. Dr. Jotham Musinguzi, and we want to get to know a little about what they do and a little about this day. Doctor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are live on UBC TV.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes, come just here. Now, what exactly do you do as the Population Council?
The Population Council is the government-mandated agency which plans for the population. We come out with the policies, working with the different MDAs to make sure that the population becomes wealthier. We improve on, we reduce poverty, but we also make sure the welfare of the people continues to improve year in, year out. And if we see some challenges in the policies, then we commission reviews and we make sure that those challenges are addressed.
Okay. So, are you the ones that tackle poverty?
No, we are not the Minister of Finance.
You're the ones that design the policies?
No, we don't design the poverty policies, but what we do is to alert the country about the trends in the welfare of the population, be they health, be they for poverty, be they on environment, would they be in mortality and fertility. All that is what we do, and make sure that the right agencies take the necessary action through corrective policies and that they are well implemented.
How would you describe the state of the Ugandan population in terms of welfare, in terms of wellness?
The wellness of the state of Uganda's population is not up to where we want it to be. The state of the population of Uganda still lacks. People are still living under poverty. 39% of our population are not in the money economy. That translates into 3.5 million households, or equivalent to 17.5 million people. So we still need to do a lot to improve on the well-being, on the welfare of Ugandans.
So I want to let you go and welcome the Prime Minister. But now, what is keeping us there, and what do you think has to be done?
Uganda is a young country, is a developing country. The country does not have all the resources to improve on each and everybody. So we have to make sure that we continue to improve on incomes of people, and that is why today's theme of mindset change for wealth creation in order to deal with child marriages and teenage pregnancies is very pertinent. We must create wealth for Ugandans.
Okay. How are we going to do that? Practical means, because I was talking to the Minister for Economic Planning here, the Honorable Ugolobi, and he told us that he agreed with us that a number of programs have not achieved the desired goals in terms of fighting poverty. Where is the missing gap, as you who has the data?
You see, if all the programs had already achieved their purpose, we would all be going home because the job would be done. But the point we are making is that Uganda has got very good policies, but the implementation is not very well coordinated. We want to make sure that there is enough money to be able to implement the policies that are these very good books.
Thank you so much, sir. I think the Prime Minister is arriving. Let me allow you go and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. That is the Executive Director of the National Planning, the National Population Council, and he says, yes, we can't be there in just a blink of an eye. A number of things have to be done, and it will take us some time, but he has hope that we shall be there. We thank you so much for watching. We are coming to you live from Boma Grounds in Kumi District, and at this moment, the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja is already in Kumi. The chopper that carried her to this place has landed, and she must be on her way to the venue to see that she presides over this event that is annually celebrated every year in the whole world, and this year's chapter is handled here in Kumi District. The Right Honorable Nabanja is going to be the chief guest, and she must be on her way to this venue. The World Population Day is an annual event observed every 11th of July every year, and it seeks to raise awareness of the population issues. The event was established by the Governing Council of the United Nations Development Programme in 1989. It was inspired by the public interest in the 5 billion day on the 11th of July 1987. The approximate date of when the world reached the figure of 5 billion people in the whole world. World Population Day aims at increasing people's awareness on various population issues such as importance of family planning, gender equality, poverty, maternal health, and human rights. Those are the issues that we reflect on this day. Now, the theme for this year's celebration here in Uganda is mindset change for wealth creation, ending child marriage and teenage pregnancy. This is almost a song. In the rural Uganda, there are so much problems to do with early marriages and child pregnancy among our young girls. That is a population problem, and it needs to be tackled, and a permanent solution needs to be taken, and to make it come to an end. Then how do we have a resilient
Corporation TV, my name is George Bansetamu, and we come to you live from the Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, where it's a very auspicious occasion today. It's about sport, and it's the send-off of our teams that will represent Uganda in the Commonwealth Games and, of course, the World Athletics Championships. These come about, the World Athletics Championships, later this week, and, of course, the